If you want to advance from manager to director, then this is the video for you. Today, I'm going to be laying down the most impactful steps that you can take to advance from manager to director very quickly. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, then subscribe and hit that bell so that you're notified each time that I release a new video. My name is Ryan Stoltzfus. I'm the founder of the Job Hackers Network, where we help leaders to change their career trajectory by building their brands and ultimately growing their impact. In today's video, we're going to go over 3 core areas that you can very purposefully be focusing on as you're looking to change from manager to director. Now, these are things that you can control. So let's work on controlling the controllable and dive into number 1. The first step that I want you to take is doing the work now. You've got to dive in. You've got to get into that work. So let's talk about this from the perspective of a project. I want to look at it through that lens. Okay, so manager versus director. Doing the work now. Now, what do I mean by this? You're not going to automatically be given the P&L of a director when you're not a director. You're not going to be given the ultimate control, right? Your center of control. Your center of influence is bigger than your center of control. You have the ability to push out your center of influence by the way that you do your work. So through the lens of a project, let's start off at the beginning of a project. For a manager versus a director, how is a project initiated? For a manager, oftentimes that project is handed to that individual versus that individual seeing a problem and saying, wait a second, we can solve that. A director is going to be looking at the landscape, a broad landscape, and saying, what's broken that I might be able to affect, that we might be able to change. And so at the initiation of a project, oftentimes a director is one who identifies the problem and then assigns resources to be able to fix that problem. How can you do that as a manager? You're not going to own the resources, not yet. But you will have the ability to look at the landscape based upon how you perceive it, how you purposefully want to look at it. You've got to pick your head up from the desk. Pick your head up from the team. Get over the cubicle wall, figuratively or literally, and look at what's happening around you. And then find a problem. Go and potentially gain resources, gain stakeholder buy-in for those resources because you won't own them yet. But now you're initiating the project. So that's the difference between a manager and a director at the initiation of a project. They're seeing the strategic landscape and they're starting that project. Okay, during the project. Now, you're in the middle of it. You have the resources. As a manager, you're leading this project. During the project, one of the key things that a director will do is make sure that they're assessing still that broader landscape and saying, who needs to know about this? Who, in the end, is this ultimately going to affect? Who needs status updates? Who needs to know the metrics of how we're tracking? Who needs to know the new ETAs? From a resource perspective, who needs to know how we're using these resources and that we're doing it prudently so that we can then go attain more? Because again, you don't yet own that full P&L as you would as a director, right? So now we're going out there and saying, how do we communicate effectively so that you are empowering the broader organization that is going to be affected by this project? Third place that we're going to go in regards to this project example is to the end of the project. After the project is completed, what is the difference between a manager and a director? How can you look like a director now? You can think about the broader landscape, communicate effectively the results of the project. That's kind of level 1. But then level 2 is to say, who else could be affected by this project that is not yet in scope, right? So again, bringing your head up above that cubicle wall to look around and say, who else needs to know about this? Who else, what other silos, what other parts of the organization could potentially use this project or the structure of this project or do something similar to this project? Who else do I need to get in front of that ultimately, through your work, through then enabling others, your impact is going to grow? Okay? Directors are always looking at that larger landscape. It's no longer just about the team in front of you. It's about something bigger. This is how you can, in your manager seat, with a project in front of you, with a problem in front of you pre-project, start looking at things differently so that you are acting like you are doing the work now, even though you don't have the title. If an individual looks at you and says, right, this is now an individual who holds the purse strings for a promotion, they look at you and say, well, it's obvious. He's been directing. She has been directing. So of course we would promote into that director level capacity. That is the quickest and easiest way to be identified for promotion, is to do the work now. So that's step one. All right, let's talk about the second thing that you can do, and that is to manage visibility. All right, 3 components I want to go into in regards to managing visibility, and that is analyzing who holds the P&L. Talked a little bit about this in number 1. You got to understand who has the purse strings, but here it's really important. So, who has the P&L to what? P&L means profit and loss statement. It means they have the budget, but it's even bigger than the budget. They really own that business. And with that, they're able to create roles that they want to serve their business. If you're a director of engineering, you might not own a P&L for that organization. It might be a director of operations that's going to truly own the P&L. So now we have to look and say, if I was to be promoted from my manager position into a director position, who would hold the power? Who has the purse strings? Those individuals have to be analyzed and understood by name. You got to chart that out and write in these different silos and areas that you have interest in, who holds the purse strings? Maybe 1 layer up, 2 layers up. And then number 2, what you have to do with that is you have to assess your brand with each of those individuals by name. Yes, by name. And you look at John and you look at Tabitha and you say, what is my current brand with that individual by name? So, how do we analyze this? One thing that I like to do is I like to think about points of contact, points of visibility that this person has had of you or with you. You might have had a skip level one-on-one with these individuals at some point in time. That's maybe an hour that they were with you. That's a point of visibility. Hopefully in that point of visibility, you were thinking about what you were trying to accomplish in the past and it wasn't willy-nilly and you got something from it, right? So now they have a positive brand perception from that. Maybe they saw you speak at an all-hands meeting, a point when you were on stage talking about the tactics of what we were going to do, manager tactics, but hopefully they even saw you talking about the strategy, the larger landscape, speaking like a director, right? And if they didn't even know it and they saw you speaking in that way, they would have just assumed you were a director already. Think about that when you're on a stage, the landscape that you're speaking from. Managers get too deep in execution versus that strategic layer and level. Okay, so now that's 2 points of contact this person has with you. The one-on-one, this all hands. Now, the third component that you're going to go into to build on this is to create additional visibility points. How do you do this? You think about when that individual might have a line of sight to you, how you can strategically show up in front of them, or maybe how you can draw them into a line of sight for you. I think about myself and a story that I have from ADP. At ADP, I wanted to really get into career development more and more and have that be more of my day job that I was doing. That program, the career development program, was led by a senior director, Doreen Coles, and I had only had 1 point of visibility with her early on in my time at ADP. It was okay, but it wasn't me really putting myself forward in the career development space. Now, I heard she was going to be coming into our site. And so what I did with that time is I put together 3 specific moments. I got to the person holding her calendar and got her into 3 times where I knew I was going to be speaking in different settings to a leadership group, to an associate population on the topic of career development. One was a formal presentation I would be doing. Now, 2 weeks after, she didn't give me any direct feedback, but 2 weeks after she left, she then called me and said, Ryan, would you take over the webinar program for career development for ADP across the world? And I said, yeah, hands down, yes, absolutely, let's do it. And so that's what we're talking about when we're thinking about creating additional lines of visibility. And that should be with individuals by name. Whenever you're presenting, know who's in your audience. And then be able to assess, are those individuals that hold the purse strings over something that I want? So that wraps up number 2. You're going to analyze who holds the P&L to that role, that area that you want. Assess your brand with them by name, and then assign additional tasks to yourself, ways that you're going to create visibility points with each of those people by name. If this is helping you, then give us a like down below and then answer in the comments this question. How purposeful have you been? Honestly, how purposeful have you been in the branding of yourself? On a scale of 1 to 10, just throw a 1 to 10 down in the comments down below, 1 being not very purposeful and 10 being very purposeful.
Are you ready to start or optimize your job search process? Do you feel stuck and need help connecting the dots? Join this free web class where you'll learn the step-by-step formula to control your career progression. We've helped hundreds of experienced engineering and operations leaders just like you to build their brand and grow their impact. Register for this exclusive training today to step into the driver's seat of your career.
The third way that you can help yourself in the transition from manager to director is to be selective. And I want you to be selective in 3 key areas. Now, the first of those is you've got to learn to say no. Now, one of the pieces of advice that I'm sure you probably got pretty early on in your career, I see this advice wrongly given quite a bit, is to just say yes, right? Somebody comes to you with a project, just say yes. Dive into everything. No, bull honky. That is crap advice. You have got to learn to say no. Now, as a certified strengths-based coach, I help individuals to really dive into their strengths, the work that fuels and engages them and lights them up. So now that individual has a temperature check, a barometer to say, okay, wait a second. If I say yes to this, is it gonna play to my strengths? Am I gonna show up well? Is it gonna fuel and engage me and light me up? So I do think looking at your strengths, the work that you would be actually doing is a really, really good way to determine, are you gonna be sustained by this project or is it gonna be a burden? Now that you're saying no to things, to the right things, and saying yes to the right things, of course, as well, we want to analyze projects. So this is number 2 in how you are being selective. Okay, analyzing projects. How do we do this in a way that is very thoughtful and purposeful to going from manager to director? We look at, as one component, what is that project going to be affecting? Is it affecting maybe a product that's the core product of the organization, that's front and center, that's gonna have all eyes on it? That would be a good place to play. Or is it something over here? Maybe it's a project where we're sunsetting something and it's over to the side with very limited lines of sight and visibility. Well, now it depends upon who is it important to. Even if it's over on the side, it might be really important to one of the individuals that you're trying to change visibility with. Can you see the angles on this? As you're looking at projects, look at whether those projects are going to be visible to the right people, impact the organization, create a story that can help you overall in this brand building that you're doing, right? Think about, before you start something, how is this going to contribute to my overall story, my career brand, okay? Now, the other thing that I want you to think about is your strengths. As a certified strengths-based coach, I go deep into helping individuals to understand the work that fuels and engages them. And that's how I see strengths, right? It's the Marcus Buckingham definition of strengths. Your strengths-based lane is when you're in the lane of doing the work that lights you up, that fuels and engages you. This is where career sustainability comes from, playing to the work that lights you up. Now, when you're looking at a project and you're understanding the role that you would have to play in that project, ask yourself, am I gonna be in my strengths-based lane? Is this gonna be work that I drive towards? Is this gonna be work that I want to do? Or is it going to be an absolute vacuum drain of my energy? Because if it is, it will not be your best work. When you've got that component right, you're looking at the projects through the right lens, you're saying no to the right things, yes to the right things, The next area that I want you to be saying yes to is stages. One of the things that really helps an individual to catapult their career is their ability to present. If you look at individuals who have performed the same in their career but were not able to get on stages, typically an individual who is able to get on stage is going to make about 20% more throughout their career than somebody who doesn't get on stages. And honestly, that person who can't get on those stages is going to be capped at a certain point in their career, because they won't be able to affect cultural growth. They won't be able to get up there and affect the whole organization under them. So, getting on the right stages. How do you assess a stage? How do you assess whether you want to be the one in the front presenting out on something? One, you look at the topic, you look at the impact of the topic, the results. Two, you look at the who's going to be in the room. Who will you gain visibility points with if you're on that stage? Number three, does the topic play to your strengths? Is this in the area of how you want to be known and want to be branded? Because if you get up on that stage, you will likely be perceived as an expert in that knowledge area. That topic will be associated with your brand. And is that what you want? So that's how I would analyze stages. Is it going to match up to the overall brand perception that I want to deliver? To whom am I able to deliver that brand perception? And is this something that's going to catapult my career up based upon the impact of what we're presenting? Now, stages are great. Stages have absolutely changed my career trajectory. If I didn't have that capability of getting on stage, wouldn't have been able to lead that career development program, wouldn't have been able to create the impact and change hundreds of people's lives through the Job Hackers Network. So if you don't have the skill set of presenting on stage, that is probably one of the number one things that I would invest in myself in, is that ability to present, that ability to effectively communicate to larger bodies of people. As a recap, those are our three main components of how we're going to make that transition from manager to director. You've got to first do the work now. Push out that area of influence. You've got to manage your visibility, specifically to those people who hold the power to create roles that you would want. And then you got to be selective and make sure that you're doing the right work. If you feel like you're ready to advance from manager to director, but you can't quite get over the hump, then I'd like to help. Only set up time with me if you feel like you're ready for that next step, but you want some professional help to be able to get there, to get through that transition. You'll find the link to my calendar down below for a one-on-one. In that job search strategy session, we are going to get down to the brass tacks. We're going to build out a high-level plan of how you can take the purposeful next steps that you desire to in your career. And be sure to check out these videos next as you continue down this career journey that you're on, purposefully owning your brand and growing your impact. I'll see you on the next one.